All right, here with Thread and Maple, and in today's tutorial I'd like to show you how to do a provisional cast on with a crochet hook. This technique is used when you need to keep the cast on edge stitches live so you can pick them up later and knit in the other direction. There are quite a few ways to do the provisional cast on, but I'm going to show you two ways to do it with your crochet hook. For the first method, or the one-step method, you're going to start by chaining 5 stitches. You're going to keep that crochet hook in your right hand, and you're going to have your needle, your knitting needle, in your left hand. You're going to have the working yarn behind your needle, and you're going to take that crochet hook and come in front, across in front of the needle, grab some yarn and pull it through the loop on your crochet hook. Reset by bringing the working yarn behind the needle. The crochet hook comes in front of the needle across to grab that yarn and pull it through the loop on your crochet hook. You're going to repeat these steps until you have the number of stitches that you need for your provisional cast on. And then once you reach the number of stitches that you need, you're going to just chain 5 more stitches. You can then cut the yarn. Now you can work your first row of stitches with your main color of yarn. The second method you can use for provisional cast on is can be called the crochet chain method. And you start by crocheting a chain for the number of stitches you need for your provisional cast on, plus 10 extra stitches. And then we're going to start picking up stitches in the crochet chain. So when you crochet a chain, you're going to see these nice V's on one side of the chain. And then when you flip it over, you're going to see these little bumps. And we're going to be picking up stitches in those little bumps. So grab your knitting needle, and now you're going to go about 5 bumps in, and on that 6th bump you're going to stick that your knitting needle in, grab your working yarn for your project and pull that through, and you're going to go into each bump on the crochet chain, picking up the number of stitches you need for your provisional cast on. Once you have all of the stitches picked up, you should have about a 5 chain on the other side of your provisional cast on. This is the first row of your project that you have knitted, so now you can move on with knitting in the one direction. A couple of tips for these methods. With this one-step method and for the crochet chain method, it really doesn't matter how many stitches you crochet in the beginning and at the end. I just like to make things simple with the number 5 on either side, so I can just add 10 easily to the number of stitches that I'm going to need to cast on for my provisional. You just need a few extra chain stitches to make things stable on either side. It's helpful to pick a smooth yarn in a contrasting color for your crochet chain in about the same weight of the main color yarn you're using for your project. This helps when you later go to unravel. You're going to be taking out this scrap yarn and you don't want it to stick to itself. So I find a superwashed yarn works really well, but again, you want something that's not going to kind of stick to itself and felt that you have to pull apart. The beginning of your chain is over here is with that slip knot, and you want to kind of mark some way to know that the end of this chain is the chain you're going to start unraveling from. So I just have a big loop here, but what you can do is pull that tail all the way through the loop, and then you can tie a knot in that strand, and this is going to just let you know that this is the end here. that you want to unravel from. But whatever method works best for you for making sure that you unravel from the end and not where we did the slip knot. Now, as I mentioned, when you're finished with whatever you're doing as far as knitting the project, and now you need to come back to that provisional edge, you're going to be taking this scrap yarn out. And there are a few suggestions for how to unravel this. Now, the real quick way is to unravel and have live stitches that you pick up carefully. But if that's not your favorite way to pick up live stitches, there are a couple of other methods. And so typically the way that you'll find this described is to unravel your provisional cast on, and then when the first stitch becomes live, you pick that up and put it on your needle. So you're really going one stitch at a time, and once you get a live stitch, you pick it up and put it on your needle. And this is totally fine way to do this. It does have those live stitches that are at risk for dropping, like that one almost did. So that can be a little bit trickier unless you're comfortable picking up a drop stitch. I'm ready to unravel my provisional cast on and start knitting in the other direction. So another method for doing that than just having live stitches is picking up those stitches with your needle. And this is similar to like a afterthought heel on a sock if you've ever done that before. So you're going to go in to each stitch and you're going to grab the right leg of each of those stitches. Now, if you have to do this for a lot of stitches, that can be quite tedious, but now they're secure. And again, I have my knot over here, so I know this is the end of my provisional cast on that I need to unravel. And the beauty about this one is those stitches are already on my needle and ready to go as I unravel that crochet chain provisional cast on. And we're ready to go. So once you've completed your first row, you can do the lifeline method. And this involves getting some scrap yarn in your darning needle. And so we're just going to be taking our darning needle and we're going to go through each stitch that we knit. And then we're going to be pulling that yarn through. So you're going to make your way across all these stitches. And now I have my lifeline inserted into these stitches. So later when I go to pick these up, my lifeline is going to hold those stitches in place. So I hope that was helpful on how to do a provisional cast on. This was 2 ways using your crochet hook. If you have any other questions, please feel free to let us know in the comments.